Good morning, everyone. My name is Harold Famil Fatimu from SMA Negeri 1 Banjarnegara, and today I'm participating in NSDC 2026 as the proposition. And today I would like to declare the motion. So the motion of today's debate is: this House regrets the increasing popularity of buy now pay later services such as Shopee Pay Later or installment purchases and many others. Well, as the proposition, I would like to define the definition of buy now pay later services, or BNPO. BNPO is a service which allows consumers to buy products or services and pay it in the future with a limit of time. It is one of popular features in digital economy. In Indonesia, there are several platforms of BNPO such as Shopee Pay Later, Credivo, Co-Pay Later, and many others. The motion says the House believes that the phenomenon of increased usage of BNPO services is harmful due to several impacts created, and the regulation of usage should be tightened to avoid further impacts. While talking about BNPL is usually integrated with e-commerce or application like Shopee Pay, GoPay Later, and many others. So the customers don't have to find another credit services because it's already provided in the app. To access it, it's really easy because you only need to register with your identification card, and after it's verified, we can choose the credit option, and after choosing the credit option, the BNPL provider will pay to the merchant, and now we are adapting to the provider. And after that, this mechanism of BNPL really ease the younger generation to buy what they want to fulfill their desires. Well, in Indonesia itself, the BNPL services is supervised by OJK, or Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, but this thing is categorized as a new method of payment, especially in digital economy, since it is just raised in Indonesia around 2016. And of course, the regulation of BNPL services is not strict enough. There is still a lot of gaps that could lead to abuse such as fraud of identity. Furthermore, the level of digital economy literacy in Indonesia is still very low. There is still a lot of people who is tricked by the promotion of the BNPO, like the 0% of interest, and then the long-term credit time, and many other promotion that tricks the vulnerable age groups. And talking about the disadvantages of BNPO services, we can see it from many points of views, but today I would like to explain from the social and economical point of view. Well, first of all, from the economical point of view, the dependence to BNPO services can lead to several economical impacts. For instance, we can trapped in debt cycles and implicit interest. Nowadays, there is a lot of BNPO services that gives really big interest if the consumer cannot fulfill the bill when it's already due. So in advance, they're promoting the 0% of interest that usually tricks the vulnerable age groups, like I've mentioned before. The incapability to fulfill the interest usually leads to debt, and slowly it'll become a cycle of debt. Furthermore, the ease of access to BNPL will likely decreasing the saving rate of young generation, because BNPL eases the consumer to consume goods or services without paying at the moment. In general, by the ease of access to this feature, a money that can't be saved for the long-term savings or investigation will always be used to fulfill their desires, and it is related with the social context. And right now, we are moving to the social point of view. From the social point of view, the BNPO would likely increasing the culture of impulsive buying and FOMO, or fear of missing out. And because of this feature is really effective in exploiting the human psychologically, They can buy whatever they want without, though they don't have the money at the moment, and without even thinking the impacts in the future due to impulsive buying culture. And when they have already arrived in the moment where they must pay the bill and they still don't have the money to pay it, it'll cause a mental pressure and stress that can lead to worse conditions such as depression or mental illness. Billing activity by the debt collector also usually gives a bigger social pressure. And in addition, the BNPL opens the door to normalized debting at a young age and leads to overconsumption. Well, we can see that many long time ago, the debt culture is needed if they are really needing a emergency money. I mean, if they are getting sick without even preparing for that, usually people debting to fulfill their needs, to pay the fee. And then nowadays we can compare it that nowadays there is a lot of people who debting because to fulfill their lifestyle, to follow the trends of today and another day. So they debting and propose to fulfill their desires, to fulfill their formal behavior. And then after that, the BNPL have many impacts in short term and long term. In short term impacts, it'll cause overconsumption because they can easily buy whatever they want without even thinking whether they have the money at the moment or not. And for the long term impact, it'll lead to unstable financial condition. So there will struggles with debts, with credits, with many other financial problems that caused by this BNPL feature. And then after that, in Indonesia itself, the level of digital economy literacy is still very low, so it's very likely will affect the vulnerable age groups, for example, like the younger generation or older generation. So this kind of vulnerable age groups will likely more vulnerable to this kind of BNPL impact. And then in conclusion, I strongly support today's motion because economically the BNPL can be a time bomb for the stability of financial, while in social context it is a risk of creating a consumptive community culture and making them vulnerable to mental pressure due to debt pressure. Well, I would say that BNPL is not just a tool to pay, but also a tool that systematically change the culture of people, of citizens in Indonesia in debting. So it'll slowly, systematically change the way of thinking of Indonesian people in fulfilling their desires, in fulfilling their formal behavior. And as a conclusion, I strongly support today's motion.